Okay, so if we go to, where are you guys again? Ghostly Studios. Okay, so this is your feedback for Ghostly Studios for your pre-production work. The deadline is today, so it's under here. Right then, so have a look through the audience research. So audience research is completed by Ellie. Okay, so let's have a look through. Okay, so this is the posters. So this is 1 question, 2 question, 3 question, 4 question, 5 question, 6 question, 7 question. Okay, so the actual thing we're looking for, and again it's on the handout that I gave you, is 10 questions. So if we go to the job that you guys were given, and again, you know, you've got worksheets, plus we've talked about it in class. Assignment 2, pre-production, deadline this Friday, today. And we've had an extension on that date. So as you can see, under audience research, we're looking for 10 questions, yeah, on each section. Total questions 30, asking 20 or more people. Okay, now if we go to this, concern I've got is I've got 7 questions there. So I wouldn't be able to give you level 4 for that because it's not finished, it's incomplete. Okay. Trailer questions, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've only got 7 questions there as well. Okay, and then magazine questions, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 questions there as well. Right, I have no results. This is pointless. There's no results or analysis or anything. There's no graphs. Has anyone filled this in? Okay, well that's kind of concern. That's really the task hasn't been done, because there's no responses. You can't say this is audience research because we haven't actually conducted any. Yeah, and the concern that I have is that this task was set, as you can see, because it's dated on my blog, on the 3rd of October. So if we go to that, it's now the 20th of October. That's 17 days. So that's 2.5 weeks we've had to do this task, and there's nothing to show. Yeah. So my concern, yeah, but it's not done, is it? What I've just explained to you is that this has not been done. It's just the questions. There's no results. Yeah. So we've been using the examples, and all of these sheets I show you where you can see an example of it. Yeah. So there's the sheet, and there's the address for an example that you can look at as to what this should be if it was completed. Now we've been using the example in class of last year's work, which is Snatch Studios is our go-to one. If we have a look, you can see under their work there, on their audience research, that they have done the correct amount of questions. Yeah, so there's 10. They've also asked them about the font, which is missing from yours, and then they've done the results. So if you go through at the bottom, you can see that we've got the results. There you go, the feedback. So that proves to me that they did the research. And then at the end, we've got the analysis of the results. So what are we going to do now we have these results? So that is a completed piece of work because we have results to go from. Yeah. So at this current point, that is an incomplete piece of work. Okay. Now incomplete attracts a grade E. Okay. So Ellie at the minute is on a grade E for that piece of work. Okay. Right. If we go to our next task, which was the mood boards, which we weren't sure what they were or who was doing them, so I'm a bit concerned about this one already. I don't have anything on there. I've got no mood boards, so that's going to bring your group's grade down quite severely because I have no ideas in there. Yeah, so yeah, but if the work's not done, it doesn't matter. Having ideas is not the point of this. Demonstrating your ideas is the point of this, isn't it? So that puts you in an awkward position because you are in a group with people not doing work. Yeah, that puts you in an awkward position because now I can't give you any higher really than a sort of high E because there's loads of stuff missing still. And again, that work was set on the 2nd, I think, of February, wasn't it? Sorry, what did I say? It was set on the 3rd of February. Task 2, pre-production, yeah, 3rd of October, sorry. So we've had, again, 2.5 weeks, and I've got nothing from some people in the group at all. Okay, if we go back to this again now, the next thing was what you mentioned before, the drafts of the magazines. Let's just turn the sound off on that, because that's going to come out on the recording. Okay, so we've got poster ideas, so this is yours, yeah? Okay, this is good, because this is a lot stronger. It looks like it's finished up to here. So these are the things that are going to influence your idea. This is lovely. Okay, great. And Good. I like the fact you talked about each particular one. That's interesting as well. Okay. And then these are your magazine ideas, the one that are going to sort of influence you, and you've talked about that down there. Okay. That's nice. We've got the draft. There's a lot written about that. That's really nice. And again, that one, it's very different, well drawn, nicely laid out, a lot of detail in there as well. And you've done a third one. Okay, that's great. These are really nice. I like those. They look very professional. You've spent obviously a lot of time on that. That's lovely. And now we've got our digital drafts down the bottom here. Okay, that's nice. And you've taken a fit photo. Okay, that's really good. So all this needs to be a top, to be like a kind of a level 4, like an excellent, which is a kind of A grade area, is you just need like a conclusion. So like overall now I'm thinking I'm probably going to go with this design, I'm probably going to go with this font. Yeah, so maybe get some of the, cause the problem is because the mood board hasn't been done, you haven't sort of looked at what fonts you might want for your film. Yeah, so maybe use that. But this is a very strong piece of work, Bridget. Okay, it's a pity your group are kind of letting you down, so I'm obviously going to have a bit of a chat with you as a group and maybe look at moving you into another one. Okay. Right, and then Kieran, again 2.5 weeks we've had to do the basic camera shots. Let's have a look where we're at so far. If we have a look at pre-production and camera. Okay. Right, this is quite nice. He's got some stuff on here about ISOs. This is really nice actually. I like this. This is lovely. So he's talked to me about how to use them, and these are our basic camera shots. So let's see what we've got. Okay, now the problem with this is this would be a kind of D grade piece of work. Yeah, the problem with that is if you look at the examples and what the task asks you to do, yeah, it was actually asking you to explain why you would want to use these shots in your film or how you could use them. Yeah, so Kieran, with this, what you haven't put in here on your titles is you've just named the shots. Now that would be a kind of, that's a very basic thing to do. Say this is a tilt, this is a this is a this. What you should be doing, as per the example that you've been given as an example, which is here, you'll notice that they've talked about what the shot means and why you would use it. So we would use this to exaggerate the size and the power and the threat of our antagonist. Now I'm a little bit disappointed because I gave you this video, I said, not you but your team, and I said as long as you don't copy it but you can see the sort of thing that we need to talk about. So even with all this you can see that, you know, this is not 2.5 weeks worth of homework. You know, 3 hours to 4 hours per week, so 3-6 hours just purely of homework, plus we've had a lot of class time. We've had at least 3.5 hours of class time. That's 9.5 hours. Now I'm happy with all this stuff that he's done. Yeah, I'm really happy with all this, but the problem with it is this doesn't show me any application towards horror or how you're going to use any of it. So that's my concern at the minute, is what he'll need to do now is screenshot every single one of these and now tell me why you would use these shots. Okay. Now the other concern is as well, we've got half an hour until the deadline, and as it looks like he's finished shooting the horror shots, but that isn't finished either. So again, I'm questioning whether your group are putting in the hours like you have been doing for your homework. So we're probably going to have a little bit of a conversation about that. Okay, so overall, looking at this, really, if we aggregate the grades, we're kind of probably looking at a sort of D-, E+, simply because the work is incomplete. Okay, now obviously this is unsustainable, so I will be putting some people in your team on some sort of disciplinary now, because this is starting to affect your grade. Okay, so I'll put the recording on YouTube. You guys have heard what you now need to do to get these improved. The hard deadline, the final deadline for this, is when we come back after half term. Okay, so I'll work with people in your team now to look at where we can slot you in elsewhere. Okay, thank you.